Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Post your spooky experiences. I'll start. Be me. 15. Playing video games late into the night because it's spring break. I was thirsty, so I decided to get a drink. Go downstairs and see all three of our cats staring up at the same spot on the ceiling. Kinda weird, but think nothing of it. Grab a glass of water. About to go back upstairs when I get a weird twisting feeling in my stomach. Decide to ignore it and open the kitchen door to all three of my cats, still staring at the same empty spot on the ceiling. Walk past them and feel a hand caressing the right side of my torso. Turn around to see what the hell touched me. All three cats are turned around looking right at me. Run upstairs and nearly crap my britches.
Grandpa visited me in a dream after he died. Grandpa was really sick all the time in 2023. I was prepared for him to die any day. A few months ago, he was taken into a hospital again. Mother says the doctor recommended hospice. After a week, I have a dream in the morning where Grandpa comes by at my apartment, says his goodbyes and all that, wake up thinking he is dead. I received a text from my father that Grandpa is dead. He was a good guy. I'm sad he had to live in suffering for a while, and that I wasn't there when he passed.
So many people mention this, or something basically identical to this, that it was probably the single defining factor of me getting into the spiritual and paranormal stuff. I simply cannot believe that it would occur so often if there wasn't something, even just basic instincts, that explained it happening. Condolences all the same, Anon.
My mom says this happened when I was still a toddler. I don't remember it, so I'll keep it short. New house. Just me and Mom. She starts hearing weird sounds at night. Sounds get worse over time. Mom starts witnessing things moving in the house. Walks into the kitchen once and sees the cupboard door opening slowly before slamming shut another one. Mom's in her room, at her desk. She leaves the room for a minute and comes back to find her desk drawers all open and papers on the floor. Mom is getting spooked. All of this culminates in a spooky experience that forces Mom to move houses. It's basically this. She's at her desk, working. Hears footsteps leave her room. Mom feels panic, turns around and no one is there. Hears me scream in my room down the hall. Mom books it and finds me in my room screaming. This next part she swears is true. She sees a huge black figure in the room with me. The figure looks kind of like black smoke, only more solid. It's moving oddly along the walls. Instinct kicks in. Mom rushes in, scoops me up, and runs out of the house. We stayed at my grandparents' from then on. Eventually sell the house and move. No more experiences.
Craziest thing that I've ever seen happened when I was in my early teens. Won't bother formatting the story in Greentext because I slept terribly and I'm tired. For context, I live in southern Brazil and this happened in the early 2010s. Part of our family lived in the same state as us, but in a small city by the sea some 100 kilometers away from our town, so it was quite common for my parents to drag me there to spend the weekend with the whole family every now and then, which was fun looking back. On one of those trips, we ended up staying a bit too late there due to a heavy storm suddenly hitting our side of the state. Dad decided that we would hit the road by midnight so he could avoid traffic. I should have been asleep by then, but somehow I was still awake. Mom was awake and talking with my old man while the radio was turned on in a low volume, just to make sure Dad wouldn't fall asleep while driving. I was in the back seat, and while trying to distract myself, I decided to check the forest that covered both sides of the runway during the first leg of the trip. After a few minutes, I saw something. Bipedal, with really long arms. That would run in all fours for a bit every now and then. Big yellow eyes, skinny, long hair, running alongside the road on our right. It wasn't exactly side by side with the car, but it was still keeping up even though the car's speed was around 80 kilometers per hour, about 50 miles. I started freaking out since it kept up for almost 15 minutes to the point I stopped looking at it and saying to myself, "It's all in my head," until I saw the end of the forest in sight. When the car went past the last bit of the forest, something, which I suppose it was the thing, yelled out a distant but still chilling guttural scream, like something was being killed. I didn't sleep the entire other day. And when I managed to fall asleep the weeks after, it wouldn't be for long since I would hear the scream again in my head and wake up on the spot with a cold sweat and no way to fall back to sleep. Years later, I asked my parents about that night, and both denied seeing or hearing anything out of the ordinary, but the way they looked at each other before telling me that the trip was normal makes me think they are lying.
Did your parents also freak out when it appeared?
I do remember that during those minutes my dad turned off the radio. My mom stopped talking, both looked ahead with eyes wide open and not saying a word. Right after I heard the scream, the radio was turned on again and my mom started talking. I didn't pay attention if it was her usual small talk or if she was forcing herself since I was losing my mind.
My father was born in 1924, and as a kid, my grandparents owned a crank wind-up 78 RPM record player. Not a kid toy. Not a Victrola with the big horn speaker, but a Victrola cabinet type. My grandparents had passed away and the house was sold around 1972. I was very young. Family heirloom stuff went to my uncle's. The record player over the years eventually made it to my sister's house about 2010 as an antique display piece in her dining room. Oh, my father had claimed that the record player broke in the 1930s when he was a teen. Coil springs screwed up and sprung. Dad passed away in 1998, Mom in 1995. On New Year's Eve, around 2015, my sister had a party, and at midnight they emotionally toasted my mom and dad. These toasts are typical in my family. As they completed their toast, the Victrola whirred to life for about 30 seconds and played the 78 record that was set on it. After a moment of realization, they toasted my dad again and thanked him. These types of events are common in my family. They pop out of nowhere. Pick-related, same type of player.
11-ish years old, planning on running away from home. I intend on living out the next 7 years in the woods till I'm an adult. Wait till late at night after my mom and stepdad are asleep. Head downstairs with a backpack full of essentials. Pit stop in the kitchen for one last cup of coffee in civilization. Make coffee, drink. It's cold. Weird. I just made it. Finish putting the mug in the sink and go to the front door. The second I touch the doorknob, the noise starts. Like someone pounding on dozens of different surfaces at once, stone, metal, skin, and a whistling sound like a strong wind. No discernible source. Burning feeling in my stomach hearing the noise. Run back upstairs. Cover my ears and hum. Sounds continue for what feels like hours. Fall asleep at some point. Wake up, everything is normal. The mug is still in the sink.
April 2020, start of the plague. Be me. Talking to my ex-girlfriend on the phone. At the window because I like the wind. Hear 5 gunshots. Pa 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 pa. Tire screeching. What the hell? See movement. People that were working at a supermarket nearby went there to see what happened. They probably saw the injured man and called the cops. Guy shot, cops all around. I go downstairs to ask the cops for more info. Guy was shot dead, a few meters from the front of the apartment I lived in. Feels bad to see that. Praying freestyle for the dead man. Just for psychological relief, I didn't believe in anything and had no religion. Closed my eyes and thought, God, if you exist, let this man rest in peace. Thank you, good night. Days go by. I forgot the event very fast because of pandemics, work, college, and relationships. I start to feel something strange at the apartment. Constant feeling of someone passing in the corridor. The apartment was like a Japanese model kitnet, with small rooms side by side and a corridor. My kitnet was the penultimate of the corridor. One day I saw the shadow of a man passing in front of my window towards the end of the corridor. Didn't hear any noise. Very strange because in these kitnets you can always hear the neighbors doing whatever. I remember that the neighbor was a girl and I saw the shadow of a man. Oh no, .jpg. Thought it was a burglar and grabbed a knife. Heart racing so hard and fast, the vein pumping in my neck was kind of annoying and I could hear my heartbeat very loud. Dead silence. Heartbeat. 20 minutes passed and nothing. No noise, no nothing. I decide to open the door to see who is there, because it is getting late and I can't sleep with a thief in the corridor. Deep breath, grab a knife, open the door very fast. Blam. See nothing. I didn't see the shadow coming back. End of corridor, nowhere to run, 3rd floor. I might be going crazy. What the hell? 2 days go by, watching movie on my notebook with my girlfriend. The door opened slightly because the weather was very good. Fresh wind and warm. Go to the fridge to get something to drink. Open the door of the fridge. Hear my girlfriend say, "A man passed at the door. Who is it?" "I don't know. The neighbor is a girl." Girlfriend says, "But I saw a man." "What?" Girlfriend says, "I'm scared. Go outside to see who it is, please." Went outside. Nobody there again. MindScrew.jpg. I didn't tell her that I saw it too a few days before, just pretended that it was her imagination. Because I knew she would freak out. I didn't believe in ghosts at the time, so it was kind of a very hard mind screw for me. It took a long time to process this event. After that and other experiences, I started to study more about paranormal and esoteric stuff. I believe that my prayer helped the man somehow, and he visited me.
I've been having on and off odd experiences since 2017. Sorry if my stories are a bit incoherent. I don't greentext often. Working at my first job out of college. Have 2 co-workers. One works next to me, male, and the other one works in the other, next to our room, female. Around about the start of the year, odd occurrences begin to happen. Have a conversation with a third co-worker that those two hate. We talk about odd esoteric topics, like free will and other topics. The next day, my other co-worker attempts to goad me into a conversation about it. She walks into the room and we begin talking about gun control. There was recently a mass shooting, so it was in the news. Other co-worker I work in the same room is there. She says something like, "But he has free will," twice in row, almost as if to get me to respond. I don't take the bait, but my thoughts begin to race, since that topic was what I discussed the other day. This happens multiple times with various other topics. This goes on for so long that I either think they are recording our conversations. I look for a device in the room. The room is small, but find nothing. A few months later, I asked the co-worker I work in the same room with, "You ever feel like you're being goaded into conversation?" His face gets beet red and he sort of just laughs it off. I have more stories I'll post. I've been holding on to these for a while. Another occurrence. Having a hard time at work. Same job. Having a hard time sleeping due to the stress. Wake up and feel as if I'm possessed by something. As I'm waking up, I make a comment that maybe I should just self-terminate myself. My surface makes a noise as if to affirm my words. I hop out of bed, once again feeling as if I'm possessed by something. It's me, but it's not me, hard to describe the feeling, and get dressed in a hurry. Get in my car and start it. As I start, my radio is playing a song called SOS, Sawed-Off Shotgun. The song is about a man taking his own life after getting addicted to drugs and losing his job. On the radio info screen is what appears to be the Freemason symbol. I say something like, "Nice try," and speed off to work. I go into the inconvenience store next door, and it's almost as if something is lifted off of me. Rest of the day I feel like I'm in a haze. One thing I remember about this place was that I would take breaks out on this bench in a plaza. 2019. Back to work after a hospital visit. Have a weird feeling or vibe all day long. Can't focus and feel just off. Short of breath and other odd physical phenomena. Make it home. Chilling. Get a message on Facebook that my father is in the hospital. Rush to the hospital. Father had died earlier that day, but somehow they didn't have any emergency contact information. One more, I guess. Wake up and get ready for work. This was around when the plague started, but I was still going in. Have this strange mind state again. Rush to work as fast as I can. Say to myself, there are no cops, so I can speed. Sure as shit, there are no cops, so I make it there without a ticket. Rush to my office and play a song. The lines are, "I can see a crow on your judgment day," at the start. Right as the line "crow" sounds off, a crow flies right in front of my window. Don't freak out because for some reason, it feels like it's supposed to happen. Rest of the day is just really odd. Make strange predictions and statements that come true. Eventually my mind leaves that state, and I'm back to normal.
In 2019, my aunt died in a car crash. Mum was given some of her belongings, specifically clothes and her old HP laptop, something old with a broken hinge and Windows XP. She let me have the laptop for spare parts to do whatever, but kept the clothes in a downstairs closet. Start dating an Irish redhead in 2021. Summer of 2022, redhead GF is in Mum's house poking around. I was at work and she was spending the day. Finds closet and starts rummaging through clothes. Finds something that catches her eye, a long full green skirt with a belt and a yellowed old petticoat. Instantly decides to at least try it around the house to see if it fits. Thinks it's cool. Asks Mom about it, who seems guarded but lets her. It's not something she'll wear. Came home from work later that day. GF is napping on the couch. Go get mac and cheese to cook. While I eat, I suddenly hear a scream from the living room, then a loud thump. Find GF on the floor back first, skirts in her face. Claims that she was dragged off the couch by the ankles, and something violently threw the skirts upwards to expose herself. Whatever it was let go as I entered the living room. Help get GF, get cleaned up, but she keeps randomly sobbing. MITZU. She tells me that something is wrong with the aunt's clothes, and she's never wearing them again. MITZU. She dreamt she was in some desert canyon and saw a plump black woman running and wearing the same skirts. MITZU. She feels that the woman wearing it was terrified of something and crying. Told Mom when she got back out from a social outing. Instantly clammed up and scolded GF, told us to go home. She refused to say anything. Dad comes to visit me by my place this Christmas. Asks me about how GF is doing. Redhead GF broke up with me over the summer. Topic comes up with haunted skirts she wore. Tells me that both her and Mum would see a gangly black figure in the hallway near the closet at times since they got their aunt's clothes. That same night with spooked GF, him and Mom had the same dream as GF. Mum dumps all of Aunt's clothes in the trash the next morning. They stop seeing the figure. Parents have no idea what Aunt got up to. All of us are white.
Late at night, small village in Eastern Europe. Lots of scary stories floating around. People hearing screams in the local forests, etc. Go out into the woods alone. There stands a small Soviet-era brick building in the middle of the forest. All ruined and overgrown. Half of it submerged underground. Local people spoke rumors about it being an old crematorium. Very quiet. Walk around the building. There's a large hole in one of the walls. See nothing strange. Don't hear any odd noise. Walk in. There is nothing other than garbage. Nothing happens. Go back home. Nothing interesting happened that day. I am completely indifferent to this situation.
All right, let's do it. Be me, 16. Spend time on forums, become into the occult. I try the ritual and prayer to see spirits like my father. Know that the deceased enjoy gifts, promise wine to the first spirit I interact with. Fast forward, laying in bed. Room dead silent as always, then hear a click. Roll over to look at the noise. The most vile, gut-wrenching feeling overwhelms me. Feel something realer than anything else. Its eyes are staring at me and into my soul, but I can't see them, I feel them. And it is violating. Stay in bed frozen, close eyes like a child. I hear a female voice but can't understand what she is saying. It's like she's speaking under a pillow. Listen closer. And by the way, you owe me some wine. I jump out of bed, yell excuse me, and then fuck off. Connection severed. Felt her vibe linger around for a while, eventually brew my own wine and set it out for her. MFW, no more creepy vibes. Something of note was her voice. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, but it sounded angry. It's gay and poetic, but I remember saying it was like calligraphy covered in thorny vines.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.
There's also a Rumble archive as a backup.